May is upon us, and with that comes the Indy 500. Chances are you've watched the Indy 500 or at least heard of it before, but if not, that's fine too. The Indy 500 is known around the globe as the biggest spectacle in all of racing, but what makes it so special? Well, the short answer for that is that it's really the event with the most eyes on it, in person at least. The Indy 500 itself holds the record for the largest single event attendance of any sporting event in the world, with recorded numbers between 350,000 and 400,000. To put that into perspective, that's roughly 5 times the amount of people at the 2026 Super Bowl, nearly 4 times the amount of people at the 2022 World Cup Final, and if you don't like comparison to other sporting events, that falls near the entire population of the country of Iceland. Pretty much, if you break it down, roughly 1 in every 1,000 people living in the US are at the Indy 500. This is achieved by its huge capacity because the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the track at which it takes place at, has the largest capacity of any sporting venue in the world, so no other event can really compete. Even if they fill out the stands, the amount of people just can't match. But the amount of people there is not the only thing that makes it great. If you're unfamiliar with the 500, it's a race currently part of the IndyCar series, around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway that's 200 laps long. The track itself is 2.5 miles long per lap, hence the name the Indy 500. 33 drivers take part in the race every year, and it's been a long-standing event that's filled with heritage, tradition, and incredible racing. So if you haven't tuned in a while, or at all even, it's time to mark your calendar. The Indy 500 is part of something called the Triple Crown of Motorsport, pretty much the 3 most prestigious races in the world of racing. This consists of the Monaco Grand Prix, 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the 500, showing its high standing. Typically, it takes place on Memorial Day weekend and on the same day as the Monaco Grand Prix, but that did change this year, as F1 moved its scheduling around, and now Canada is the race on the same day. It is kind of a bummer because not only are the 2 Triple Crown races not done together, but now there's an overlap in timing, so it's hard to keep up with both. This is also the reason why Colton Herta is not racing in the Indy 500 this year, because F2 rescheduled its races to now have a round in Canada, so Herta can't take a week off for the 500. In the past though, the Indy 500 has gone on every year since 1911, except for a few occasions when it was halted during World War I and World War II. Understandable, but it's the traditions that have been carried from that year on that makes this race so special. For example, the winner of the race celebrating on the podium with a bottle of milk. From an outside perspective, it is a bit unorthodox. The tradition started in 1936 when Louis Meyer requested buttermilk after winning the race, and ever since, local dairy companies have seen it as an opportunity, and it's a normal celebration nowadays. Only on 3 occasions after that has milk not been a part of Victory Lane, in 1947 and 1955, when the concept was still new, and 1993 when Emerson Fittipaldi had orange juice instead, to commemorate his orange grove that he owned. But fans weren't very happy with the breaking of the tradition, and it led to a lot of booing. Another concept that's still featured in today's 500 that started in 1909, before the Indy 500 even happened, is the fact that the track is referred to as the Brickyard, and you see the strip of bricks on the start-finish line. The reason for this is when the track was constructed prior to the first Indy 500, the surface was made of gravel, tar, and limestone, which caused a lot of accidents and fatalities. And in an attempt to create a better surface, the track was repaved with 3.2 million bricks, hence the name the Brickyard. Over the years, the bricks were gradually paved over to get the asphalt we see today, and it was not fully asphalt till 1961. But still, the 3-foot strip of bricks we see on the main straight is a commemoration to the circuit's roots. Other traditions lie in the formatting of the race weekend itself, or should I say, 2. The Indy 500 is the only race on the IndyCar calendar where qualifying takes place a week before the race. This is because there are tons of sessions to get through, and it's just too much to stack into one weekend, and one of those sessions is something called Carb Day. While you may hear Carb Day and start thinking of your next cheat meal, CARB stands for carburation here. The concept of Carb Day was the final session a few days before the race to allow teams to tune their carburetors, but that isn't the case anymore because no IndyCar has used a carburetor since 1963. Nowadays, Carb Day is just a pretty tame, chill session where drivers will go around the oval and make sure there are no leaks in the car and make any last-minute adjustments. There are plenty other huge traditions like the singing of Back Home Again in Indiana, concerts on Carb Day, and plenty more, but there's just so much that I could be here all day telling you about everything there is, and we haven't spoken a lick about the racing itself. In the past, the Indy 500 used to be a feat of innovation and technical prowess. Teams would build their own chassis, and although the cars competed under the same regulations, there were so many stark differences. Teams would constantly bring out new aerodynamic innovations or use different engines, and with that, a huge challenge was reliability, as 500 miles is no small feat for these cars to last. The race was not just a battle of drivers, but engineers as well, but that isn't the case today. IndyCar in the modern day is a spec series, meaning the same chassis, either the Honda or Chevrolet engine, and all the tires coming from the same manufacturer. So it does reduce that factor of innovation, but with more equal machinery, it makes room for a new factor, and that's strategy. But we'll get to that in a second. For starters, the week of qualifying is its own beast. It's a 2-day battle, with the first Saturday being one big 7-hour session, where all the cars in the field get one guaranteed run on track. After that one run, they're allowed to go for a second, but they have a few options. There are 2 lanes to go again, the priority lane and the no-risk lane. The priority lane gets to go first no matter what, but entering the priority lane, you forfeit your previous time, so go slower and your position goes down. The no-risk lane allows you to keep your time, but as long as there are cars in the priority lane, you don't get to go out on track, so you could be waiting all day. At the end of Saturday, 3 groups are made. The top 12 who move into the second level of qualifying to compete for a higher spot, or if you finish 13th through 30th, you're locked into whatever position you finished, and finish lower than that, and you enter last chance qualifying or bump day. The point of last chance qualifying is to thin the field down to 33 cars, because that's all the course allows, but this year, there won't be a bump day, as there are only 33 entries. For the top 12, they compete in a session for Sunday, and the top 6 move to another session above. And the fastest time in that session starts on pole, and the results of the others are locked in. These sessions are nothing like what you'll see on race day, because these laps are flat out. Everyone is on the limit, inches from the wall with their foot to the floor. It's extremely exhilarating, and the stakes there amplify the excitement. Now that brings us to the race itself. Unlike qualifying, the 200 laps are not full throttle, and contrary to many people's beliefs, because full throttle for that long is just not sustainable to win a race, but like qualifying, there is a lot at stake. These cars are going around 190 miles per hour and getting inches away from the walls, to the point that one minor slip up will see you 80 to 100 Gs of force into the wall, except in this case, there are 32 other cars out on track. Unlike races in other series, or even road courses in IndyCar itself, you're constantly racing others. Whether it be making your way through lap traffic, which here, you're not required to concede the position, or chasing a car in front, or defending the car behind, there's no situation where you're just simply coasting and holding position. But like I said, this plays a lot into strategy. The actual racing and overtaking is very precise, as racing on this course is pretty much removing all obstacles, meaning you're always creating or under threat from another driver. Drafting also plays a huge factor, as it is what creates overtaking opportunity, and it makes defending so tough. A good timed pass after exiting the slipstream is essential, and defending is hard because if you go off the racing line to defend, you're taking yourself out of the draft of the car in front. Also, contrary to the oval hater mind, this race is not just brain-dead go fast and left. There are a lot of decisions that need to be made, and a good bit of luck playing into a good result as well. On average, these drivers are making 5 or 6 pit stops during a race, and have to get good timings on cautions, to the point they don't lose out from it being poorly timed. There are times when a driver running a good race will be taken out of contention for reasons completely out of their control, but there are choices made to minimize that risk. In that sense, there's not always a definitive winner in the Indy 500 before the fact, and the driver who drove the best race will not be the one who always wins. But it's almost impossible to win if you aren't driving a very good race, if that makes sense. At the end of the day, all the factors within the race itself and the traditions surrounding it create an environment where it means everything for the driver to win. Every year, the winner gets their face carved into the Borg Warner trophy, and they get the title of the winner of one of the biggest events in the sporting world. Also, not that it's about money, but drivers do get paid a lot more for this race than the rest of the season because of how widely watched it is. So a good result here makes a huge impact. But like I said, it's not all about the money, it's about the emotions as well. A great example comes from the 2020 Indy 500 where Takuma Sato won, and the radio message after he won is actually one of the most heartwarming things ever. Sato is one of the most soft-spoken drivers, yet the raw emotion shows you how much this means to him. At the end of the day, whatever series you follow, whatever racing you watch, the Indy 500 is the one race that exists outside of all of it. It's one of the biggest events in the world, and if you haven't given it a shot yet, or it's been a while, maybe it's time to tune in this year.